What's up, everybody? This is Finding Your Way Season 4 with Toad Sage. This is week two. Week two, we jump in, see what lessons he learned from his reading assignment that he had last week. We start digging into his strategy, which is the Anchor VWAP strategy. We also start creating some rules. Now that he's taking some trades, now we can identify what a good trade and a bad trade is using his strategy. So hopefully he has a few reds or a couple of reds that he can share so we can identify when he shouldn't be taking trades and identify when he should be taking trades. Um, yeah, I've been getting a lot of questions asked about rules or strategies, and I think in order to become a good trader, you have to build a solid foundation. Without having a solid foundation, your house of cards or your empire, you're starting to build your empire is going to crumble. So always having first off the right mindset and then the right trading psychology. I know a lot of people out there might say that there's no such thing as trader psychology, but I beg to differ. Only because as a new trader coming in, you're gonna you're gonna buy high and sell low, which you should be doing the inverse is buying low and selling high. And a lot of people, it takes a while to get that. And I was one of them, sometimes you get the FOMO emotions and you see that big green candle and then you buy at the top of the candle instead of buying at the bottom of the candle. And then next thing you know, the next 1 minute candle goes against you and then you're already upside down as soon as you enter the trade. So to kind of help with that, you need to have some, there's trading rules and then there's strategy rules. Trading rules are like, did I wake up not feeling well? Do I have a headache? Is my mind right? Am I mad at my wife or am I mad at my partner or whatever the case is? Anything that kind of throws your brain off is gonna make your trading even that more worse or bad. So it's better just to ask yourself those questions. Hey, am I in the right state of mind? Am I in the right environment? You have to have the right environment. You can't go trade on the New York subway because you probably won't get a trade off. Lasagna Cat can attest to that. I don't know if he's taking any subway trades, but I bet it's not easy because you have all these noises and all these things going through your head, and you don't have a clear mind. You're not gonna have a clear mind. You're not gonna have clear eyes to be able to see the chart clearly. So today, um, we'll start creating some rules for Toad. And then from there, we're going to slowly fine tune it. This is where the fine tuning process begins, where we told him to take, a bunch of trades so he can identify when, according to how he interprets the strategy rules. Now we're going to fine tune that strategy to his style. And that's the whole thing about strategies. We can all have the same strategy, but all have different styles. We might not all trade the same play. We all trade different plays. You gotta figure out what your style is, and that's what we're gonna do this week. So when you're ready, Toad, go ahead and start jumping into to some of your trades you took this week.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'll start off with the two reds that I have. I've got this first one where essentially, so the goal is to go for an untested first interaction on a 30-minute VWAP that's in trend. So this here on the left is the real time hour 30-minute on
Mm-hmm.
SPY. We've got, the uptrend, 10 is over the 50, simple buy sell system. This was the anchor on the start of the day, and then that bounced here. And then this one never got tested, although it got pretty close. So that might be.
Do you adjust it? So are you saying you adjusted it from that first green candle?
Yeah, so originally it was here, and then that got interaction on this one, so I
Hmm.
deleted the original one.
Okay. Is
But
that one
then,
of the rules?
yeah,
Like
that
when you look at, like,
generally
yeah, like the
on
first
the
windows, and when you look out of the window,
on the intraday, yeah, that if an anchor is interacted with, then the new anchor is that next interaction point.
Hmm.
So I guess one thing that I'm not sure on is, would this one be counted? I could go back into the chart and throw this one on, and it might even line up with like this bottom or something. Uh,
Because that's
but
the
as far
50
as I know,
SMA, right? That blue line or
the
that purple line?
blue is the 10.
10?
This is the 10, and then this red's the 50.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So since this one never got tested, we were dumping out in pre-market, and this horizontal green line is where that VWAP was in relation to pre-market. So once it actually cracked through that, I went for a long. So I waited till the close of this 5 minute. Went for a long, looking to get at least 2 to 4 points out of it. Ended up stopping at, yeah, down what, 3 points or 2 points? Yeah, because I was taking a 2 to 4.
Hmm.
So maximum two. So yeah, I lost. So this was a 2 point expense, but I say expense, right? 'Cause it's like, just speaking of Mark Douglas, there's profit and expense, and he says winners. Everybody says winners and losers, but like waves, you said earlier, they're really, if you're trading by your system, it's like
Hmm.
you're not losing. You're losing in the moment, but
Yeah, the
it's
cost of doing
profits and
business.
expense. Yeah, it's business expense. And then Douglas has, that Douglas has said, when if you're running a restaurant, you don't feel like a loser when you're ordering food. Or if someone's running a casino, you don't walk around at blackjack tables like, oh my God, we just lost $1,000. We just lost $5,000. What? Yeah, it's all expense.
Hmm.
But I actually don't know if this was an expense. I think this might have been an actual bad trade. And I took some notes here that were,
But you said you took the trade because it cracked the VWAP. Is that true?
yeah, that it got interaction. And it touched it. It was, I think this line is actually a little too low. It touched it, and then it went through. So that's why I think it might actually have been. And you're saying cracked because it went through. That's what I said. And I think that might have actually been a bad trade because I don't know if I'm supposed to go. I don't know if it's right to go long when it has such strength going through it.
Yeah, looking at
Um,
that big red candle that came into it, that looks like there's gonna be continuation because it was even a big fair value gap as well.
yep, yep, made that
Um,
big fair value BPR even.
yeah, exactly. So in order for you to come back up, maybe it'd be best for you to, like use Brandon's strategy where he waits for a hard open close, or not a hard open close, but the way that I interpret it is okay. That's helped me get into trades is the two-legged method, which is
Mhm.
it's called a two-leg entry. If you want to search it on YouTube, you can search it there. But I took that method to help me get my entries better. So the way that, and this is kind of paraphrasing, this is not exactly to the T to his definition, is wait for a candle to hold that level
Mm,
instead of getting in at the bottom of this candle or this one,
yeah.
is wait. And this is what I usually like to see is okay, even if it's a big red candle, right? It could be whatever color. This is what I like to see. This is what you should have seen over here. See how it broke through? Even though it's a green candle, it held, the next candle held. And then I get in right here
Hmm.
to go up, right? In this case, you would have waited for a little red candle here or underneath. Oh, hold on one sec. You would have waited for a little candle here, kind of like the one over here on this side. Because even that big red candle, right? See how this big candle, it shows buying pressure coming in, and this one shows
Yeah.
buying pressure coming in.
Hmm.
Not a whole solid body like that. Even like I said, even if it was a full solid body, if you would have got this little doji, even if you would have got this little doji right here to be right for the body to hold that VWAP, and then the next one, like one tick above as soon as it breaks, and then you get in to go up.
Yeah, that makes sense. I should try that one tick above method too. And I think that'll specifically be helpful for keeping runners. I already know. This was trying out a slower methodology
Mhm.
on these anchored VWAPs because I was like, the 1 minute chart so quick. I feel jumpy on it. And I was trying out a strategy where essentially waiting for the 5 minute. And I went on replay and there were a bunch of winning trades, but
Mhm.
after going through this one, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do the system the way that it's meant to be done. And I
Yeah.
actually I scrapped the 5 minute close because this was in like waiting until interaction closed and go for it.
Mhm.
Um, but now I think I'm gonna look at how a lot of what you said transitions to the 1 minute
Yeah.
of waiting for that hard open close and then breaking a high and getting in there or one tick above.
Yeah, because
Um,
the way that I hear Connor saying is I hear him say, "Oh, it's a 30-minute VWAP, but the 1 minute is transitioning to the 5-minute VWAP."
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that's kind of where I was kind of going with you, where because that's why I had asked you when you start the day, what do you do? Do you do the 30-minute VWAPs every day, or do you use the
Yes.
previous day VWAPs? There's certain little intricacies like that that you kind of got to figure out
Yeah.
because I've come to notice that it gives you a range, right? Because you do a bottom up, and then you do a top to bottom, right? Or what do you call them? Bottom up.
Bottom up and top down.
Yeah, top down, and that gives you a range, right? And then price action is somewhere in that range.
Hmm.
When you have that initial range, you go to the 5 minute, check out where price action is in relation to that range. So if it's closer to the bottom VWAP, the bottom up VWAP, then you gotta start paying attention as to what price action is looking like.
Hmm.
Is it creating higher highs or higher lows, right? Because that means that it might push up to the top or the top down VWAP. And if it's creating lower lows or lower highs, then you can already start creating, okay, if it's creating lower lows and lower highs, then it's probably going to create a falling wedge. And then you can anticipate or forecast that it might hit the bottom up VWAP. And then when it hits the bottom
Right.
of VWAP, it's going to bounce up.
Hmm.
And once it hits the bottom up, right? You're not gonna get in just because it hits it. You're gonna evaluate the price action, make sure that it doesn't break through the 30-minute and then continue flushing. You don't want to do that. That's like, you want to make that rule objective. You don't want to be subjective, meaning
Yeah.
you get in just because it hit the bottom VWAP. You want the way that Brandon has always taught us is stack catalyst. So yeah, price action is coming down to the bottom up VWAP, but is there RSI divergence? That's like the first thing that I would probably look at if it's coming down to the bottom of VWAP is okay, price action is coming down, but I'm starting to see RSI divergence. So I can potentially get in at the tag of the VWAP or anything that holds the VWAP. If it holds the VWAP, then is there a volume profile or is there something else? But right now, we're not worrying about volume profile. We're strictly concentrating on the VWAP and price
Right.
action and MACD and RSI. That's it.
Right.
So you're going to start identifying that. Okay, it's creating lower lows, lower highs. It's coming down to my bottom up VWAP. But I see either MACD divergence or RSI divergence or MACD cross coming in. And I don't know if you pay attention. Do you pay attention to like these histograms?
Yeah, I do. I've been putting them to the side recently, trying to just focus on action and the
Yeah,
VWAPs.
yeah,
But I'm definitely familiar with them. I've had a lot of good trades on bearish RSI divergence for scalps.
yeah. Because definitely here, the MACD would have saved you from getting in right here. You know what I'm saying that?
Really, oh yeah. If I go down here, it's starting a double wave. It
Yeah, but
rejected the cross up and started a double wave.
yeah, not only that, but look at the buyer waves. Buyers are not in control.
Oh yeah,
Sellers took control here.
yeah,
Pay
that
attention to
makes
that.
sense.
That goes to
Right.
everybody. Do not get in a trade when you got a seller beat over buyer, especially look at that wave. That was easily beat.
Yeah.
And then you get another wave that's a little bit bigger too. When you get no buyer wave in here and it creates a double wave, you know it's going to continue. And then you got lower highs on the MACD lines right here.
Right.
And then look, you could have got in right here because you got a MACD beat. Like as soon as this, as soon as this one, as soon as either one of these two candles right here beat out this wave right here, you know
Mhm.
buyers to control. Not only that, you got a higher low right here. So you could have fibbed that out. And look at it, looks like it hit the 50% pocket and just fucking ran.
Yeah.
Here's another tip. You said this is your anchor VWAP, right? This is your 30-minute VWAP.
Hmm. That's right.
Look at how this candle right here busted through that. Full body green candle busted through. That's what I like to see when the moving averages are cycling. I like candles. I like to see candles like that bust through the moving averages and then come back down, test the moving average, and then fucking up for the next leg up.
That makes sense.
But this trade alone, the MACD would have saved you from getting in right here.
Hmm.
If that's where you got in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I got in too close to that one.
that's not even taking that wave into consideration. That's just straight. Sellers are in control.
Right. Yeah. Like only looking here for sure, I would see if I paid more attention to that, I would see that this wave was way too strong to get in, especially in on a strong candle like this.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, I'll put those two on and take a look at them um, more often. I think so. I like trying to get in around the VWAP. Connor in a meeting was talking about how to do that appropriately.
Hmm.
Um, and he was saying, if you actually want to try to get in at the VWAP and get the best price on a trade, you have to start getting in slow.
Yeah,
Um,
averaging in.
so exactly. So this trade wouldn't, I really, even if I wanted to go for like, oh, like let's say I didn't even have the Mac on, And I just wanted to go for, I really shouldn't try to reverse such a bearish 5 minute anyway. But
Mhm.
say it wasn't so bearish, then really the right thing to do would have been to get in like 1 micro, 2 micros. When I'm simming this out, I went for 10 so I could take off 7 of them at the main profit objectives I had running. Um, right. And so it was in sim too, so it's kind of even probably
Yeah.
reckless with the size. Um, but then really instead of getting in 10, I should have gotten like 1 or 2, and
Yeah.
then by the time it dropped like 2 I think the stop was good ish, kind of. I think how to tell if a stop is good is like if action doesn't even like barely retraces to your stop.
Yeah.
Um, so you know, and then probably still stopped out at the same place. Um, but yeah, definitely get it. It should be better about the getting in slowly, right? So what you're saying here about all the confirmation, um, starting to get in slowly around the VWAP, and then while I'm getting in slowly, especially because ES doesn't move like a rocket like NQ,
Hmm.
I'll have time to make sure look at my other factors. Was RSI diverging coming into this
Hmm.
bottom? What is the MAC looking like while I'm averaging in? So I'm only
Yeah.
going, I'm only fluctuating $5-10 on the two on the 1-2 MES, and then if I get all of my if I get compounding factors and confirmation, then I can start drawing my 1 minute bottom ups
Yeah.
and start looking to add in um, around there. I
Yep.
think that makes sense. Is how I'm going to move forward with it. I was trying to keep it simple with ATMs, NinjaTrader ATM being able to just
Yeah.
click the entry button, but
Hmm.
I don't think that's the optimal way to do it. Um,
The ATM is an awesome tool. I used to use it a lot. Sometimes you'll get stopped out a lot too when you don't enter in the right location. I-
yeah,
If you were to enter in the right location, ATM strategy is awesome. But you need to work on your entries and then you can start using ATM.
makes sense.
Once you perfect your entries, then you'll be better um, off entering with the ATM strategy enabled.
I should write some of this stuff down.
Um, but like I said, even and people are gonna say, well, yeah, that's hindsight. But even then, like me, ever since Brandon put out that MACD video of the histogram, sellers in control, buyers in control thing, like look at how much you had about 3 minutes. This is the 1 minute right here. Is this the 1 minute?
This is the 5 actually.
Well, the 5 minute, right? Even
Yeah,
the
it's
five
5.
minute, you still had what 20 minutes right here that it let you know ahead of time that sellers are still in control.
Yeah. Oh, that kind of looks like it might, it could maybe go for the reverse, whatever, but that's probably novice eyes looking at it. I'm sure if an
Yeah,
expert
but
looked at it. Um,
okay,
then
say
when it
I'm a new
breaks the
trader.
low,
Say I'm a new trader and I think it's gonna create a higher low right here and go up.
right?
You want to wait to get a buyer beat, just like you did right here. Like if you would have waited to see the actual green wave develop, as soon as you see that green bar or what that MACD bar higher than the previous wave, then you can start thinking about getting in. But if you're
Yeah.
right here and you're pulling you're getting trigger happy right here because you don't got a buyer wave yet, but and you're trying to kind of like you're trying to catch a falling knife pretty much, right? Because
Oh
you
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
you didn't get any buyer anything. What you got to do is be, and this is something that Easy had to learn the hard way, is be patient. Patient pays off. Like you should fucking print that fucking title and put it up in front of your computer. Patience pays off. Patience will pay you if you're patient. If you're impatient, yeah, that's when you need shit hits the fan. And that's what I've always noticed. And even people say, well, the MACD is a lagging indicator. You can't use that. Tell me you can't. Right here. This wave alone, this two little bars, you already know that seller's in control. So you're either thinking, I'm going to get in short for a continuation down to the VWAP, right? That's what you should have been thinking up here because you got a lower high. And then you had you got the first wave, second wave, third wave. And it failed on the third one. Same way over here, you got 1, 2, and it really broke out on the third one. Even in the second one.
Right.
But for like, let's say you missed this entry, or you missed this entry because of the VWAP, you still could have got in right here. Because
Yeah.
the freaking wave right here is like way like double the size as this.
This
Because you guys got to
actually,
realize that usually legs of 3, a price action lives in legs of 3. So this is the first one. Here's the second one. And here's the third one. Usually the second one is the biggest. The first one's all right, and the last one's all right. Even though you can say it's all the way up here. Looks like an alien, but
yeah. So okay, so I actually did end up catching in one of my profit trades. I'll start with the reds. I have one more red, but in
sure,
one
go
of the
for it.
profit trades, there was actually a nice multiple confirmation on this entry over here with a VWAP from the bottom.
Yeah. And a lot of new traders get overwhelmed with catalyst stacking, right? Because they're like, fuck, I gotta stack up 3 catalysts before I even get in a trade. You shouldn't be thinking that way. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be thinking that way. You should be okay. The 3 catalysts is gonna save my ass.
Yeah.
If I don't wait for 3 catalysts, I'm looking to get my ass chewed up.
Right.
But people don't see it that way. They're like, fuck, confirmation? That's how I used to be. Confirmation was one of the hardest things I needed to get over.
Mm-hmm.
Only because the FOMO would kick in, like say this candle right here, like say I fit this out, right? I fit it out from there to there. And here's a 50%, or here's a golden pocket. You see these 2 green candles, you're like, fuck, it's gonna continue going up, which you're not wrong, but you don't want to get enter right here at the top, because look at the next red candle, it goes down, right? It goes down and then it goes up. So you
Right.
got
And
to ask
pretty.
yourself, to get in long, you always want to get in long at the bottom, not at the total bottom, but at a pullback. You don't want to get in right here. You want to get in right here.
Yeah. Makes
Because
sense.
look at right
I
here.
was.
If you would have got in right here, look at right away, like you would have been fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of new traders are like. You see these candles that are strong, and then you get in right here at the top, and then fucking you get this.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you can tolerate that drawdown. Because you don't know if it's gonna go this way. So it's always better to get in on the pullback low. This is what I call pullback low right here. To go long, you want to always get in on the pullback low. Like my entry would have been right here. Because you got the pullback low, a hold, and then right there, boom. Right here, pullback low, get in right there. On the green candle, up. You always want to get on the right side. You don't want to enter on the left side. If you're entering on the left side, you're in the wrong entry. You always want to get
Makes
in
sense.
on this side. this side of the trade, whether you're going up or down, right? Because you don't want to get in right here. You want to get in here to go down.
That makes
Anyways,
sense. I think that's a bit of operating from like a scarcity mindset too, trying to catch the bottom, thinking that you won't have an opportunity you won't have a confirmed opportunity. It's an
exactly. Yeah,
impatient scarcity
it's
mindset.
impatience and scarcity. It's a total mindset game, and it'll fuck with you. Cause say you got it went against you and you got stopped out, you're like, fuck.
Hmm.
I'm fucking down instead of being down $150 or 150 or $250, you're down fucking $500, $600,
Right.
which is a lot harder to make back up. Not saying that it's impossible to make that back up. I've been red 1,500 and I've gone up $600 after that,
Yeah.
you know, but can you tolerate that? Can your account tolerate that? Most likely, if you're on a prop firm, that's half of your whole freaking stop loss.
Right.
So
That makes sense. So two notes there, I guess. So I was trying to not use RSI and MAC, but I'll go ahead and put those back on. I'm going to start easing into the entry. You know, if I'm getting in if I'm trying to catch a good price, start really easing into the entry. The problem with waiting for total confirmation um, is that the scalp basis of the strategy,
mhm.
which I'll pull up my profit trades at some point,
Yeah, go
and
for it if you
maybe I
want to
can
jump into
see.
your other trade.
Yeah, I'll get into the other red here, and this red is way more of like an actual expense and not just a bad trade.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, like I told you last week, I'm not knocking you. I wanted you to take trades just solely based on the Anchor VWAP so we can identify other tools that could potentially help you make a better decision.
for sure.
You
I'm
know what I'm
not,
saying?
yeah, I'm not going to take it personally getting any kind of advice from people that know what they're doing. You know, think I've got enough to worry about without pride getting in the way.
Definitely.
You know, especially I already have enough pride personally trading. You know,
Well, it's
cutting
definitely
losses.
not easy. This is not easy. That's why they say that 90% fail, only 10% succeed. The only
Yeah,
10% that succeed are the ones that stick with it. And
for
and
sure.
and we've all been there where we're about to throw in the towel. But
Yeah.
a lot of new traders don't realize that they're fucking so close to just getting over the hump. It took me 3.5 years to break even, and I almost threw in the towel. But the only thing that kept me motivated is I spent $1,100 on a lifetime license of Ninja Trader.
Right.
If I hadn't spent the $1,100, I probably would have quit. But so that kind of forced me to be like, nah, you can't throw away $1,100. We need to figure this shit out.
Hmm. Yeah. You have to stick with it. I'm definitely going through a bit of that, as well. I think every beginner goes through that, and you take a bunch of. But the problem is, the a lot of the struggle and emotional pain come from not just following the system.
Hmm.
Um, when you just follow a system and it works, and you take 20 trades and even 14 of them were profitable, and you got 7 expenses or what 6 expenses. It doesn't, you're not ready to throw in the towel.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if your system starts deteriorating a bit, you're ready to find a new system. It's the
Hmm.
trading randomly. It's the trading. I used to argue that trading is not gambling, but I think that was just me trying to emotionally justify. I mean, trading is educated. It's like poker is gambling, but you wouldn't go and gamble against a professional poker player because to them it's practically not gambling. They're just taking your money.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's the pure gambling. It's the slot machine gambling that wears people out.
Hmm.
I think trading. That's so now I've got to totally cut out any trades that aren't planned, you know. That's
And,
definitely a necessity.
and you gotta find when the optimal time is for your strategy,
Yeah,
for
I
your
found that too. It's
style.
going to be a little bit after open. Sometimes the first candle can go and tap right into a good pre-market VWAP or something like that.
Hmm.
But it's definitely so now at this point, I'm not even going to be looking at the chart until 8:30. Um, because sometimes things can work in pre-market. You can get nice, pre-market top, bounce and come back to the pre-market VWAP again, and it comes back down. But it's just the amount of profit that's there to be made. I don't think it's worth the extra time staring at the chart. I'd rather be fresh. So I'm thinking not even looking at it till 8:30, placing my pre-market VWAPs, looking at the previous day VWAPs, and then waiting until like about 9:35 to make a
Hmm.
trade, and then hard cutting it at 11:30. Nothing good comes to me after 11:30.
No, there's like a dead zone from like maybe 9 a.m. to about 10:30,
Right.
and then it begins to pick up between around 10:30ish to 11:30ish to set up. And that's what you guys gotta pay attention to is learn the characteristics of the stock. Learn the characteristics of ES, learn the characteristics of NQ if that's what you're trading.
Right.
Learn like price action's gonna do something on every those little windows from
Hmm.
open to about 8:30, right? And then from 8:30 to about 10 o'clock, it's gonna do something different. And then between 10 o'clock to about 11:30, it's going to set up for power hour. You always got to think, how is the market setting up? Ask yourself, how is the market setting up? This is what I've been asking myself every time there's data coming out the next day is okay, if data is going to be bad, they're probably going to push it up after hours so they can dump it when data comes out. Or inverse, right? If data is going to be good, they're going to dump it after hours so they can squeeze it up when the data comes out. It always does the inverse of what you think you're doing. Sometimes, yes, you'll get the force up where it push it up after hours. The data is bad. The data is bad, but the fucking market keeps going up. And that we get into later when we get into the market psychology.
Right.
That'll be a couple of weeks from now where we start getting in. Okay, how is the market trying to manipulate you or fucking scam you out of your money? You always got to think, how is the market trying to screw you? But go
Right.
ahead and jump into your second trade.
Okay. Um, yes, this one was taken pre-market top down for a short. You have the WAP before it calculated was right around the cursor dotted line, which is reciprocated over here, right?
Mhm.
So we did have just a bit of hesitation on the doji, though now that I'm thinking back to what you just pointed out, we do have a MAC beat. Looks like right at the close of that candle, that probably beat out that pre-market.
Yeah.
Um, but going into and that's where the system is it feels like I gotta ask more questions to Connor, but it feels like it's tough to get um confirmation on like the 1 minute scale or the 5 minute scale. Now you do have confirmation on the 30 minute scale, right? Like if the market's in a buy signal and you're looking for a bottom up VWAP bounce, I mean the fact that it's in a buy signal seems is at least one piece of confirmation.
Now, what makes it
Um,
a buy signal?
if the 10 is over the 50 on the 30 minute.
That's just a buy signal, the 1050 location.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, so that's one thing. But anyway, this one, looking for a pre-market top-down scalp. So 5 minute, waited for this candle to interact and close. Got some doji action, got in here, and ended up stopping out there. Here's on the 1 minute. And funny thing on this one, I actually could have
Ended up
reached the
green.
profit of, yeah, I could have gotten the profit objective, because the objective with this system, I should actually, let me pull up you run over to the 1 minute on this day. So it's this Wednesday the 8th. I've actually got trading view up over here. Put that there. To the last significant lower high. Yeah, so if I pull up the 1 minute, so entering here on the pre-market VWAP, right, that's the interaction on the cursor, entering there. On the 1 minute right here. Now, if I go over to the SPY chart for that day, it actually did reach the objective, which is the bottom up, so the opposing 1 minute VWAP move. Now, it really wouldn't have even given that much, even if I got in around the right time, right around here, so with 516, 30 cents, the appropriate exit would have been just 2 points down. That's why this one is a scalp, the first piece. But so I think this is an expense, no matter what, because so I wrote here, I think this one is a simple expense trade, but it's actually not an expense trade. Actually, it is. It is. The way I played it, I think I did play it right. Because it did come down to the profit objective, but I think it was supposed to be an expense trade because holding it up here is not a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So even though it came back to profit, this was still correct to get out here. Maybe it would have even been correct to get out here at the break of these 1 minute highs. I'm not sure on the nuances. I have like a bit of cognitive dissonance because I hate being, so you mentioned that word and now I'm thinking about it. Because I hate when, like, if I cut here
Yeah,
and then it came back down here and I was like, oh, I could have gotten out for profit, but
yeah,
then really the problem is when you don't cut, and it's better to take paper cuts because
yeah, definitely.
not cutting here, this could have rocketed out. This could have been these two candles, this one that broke these highs.
Hmm.
So do you think this would have been the proper stop, is right above these 4 wicks?
I would have probably, for having a small account or a prop firm account, I would have definitely closed out maybe a point or two above those wicks. But also, what did price action
Okay,
look to the left of it?
so this could have been a lower high for off of this. If I go to the 5 minute, this is what it looked like on the 5 minute. So I mean, this could have been. I feel like this could have been a five
You,
minute
you,
lower
I
high.
think you stopped out in a good location because you would have got. I mean,
Do
yeah,
you
it
think it
came back
stopped?
to you, but look at to the left. Always look to the left. There's a little bit of no, on the 1 minute. There's always a little bit of structure there, so you know there's sellers there. So if it broke above here, you should stop out anywhere in that zone,
Cool.
like
And I'm
like
glad that
there.
stop was good.
You definitely don't want to stop out over here because you'd be like, "Fuck, it will against you." But definitely look left for structure. And one thing that you could have asked yourself is because that VWAP was what, like somewhere around here, maybe the anchor VWAP. Where was your
The
target would have been on this chart?
It would have been right, actually where I just repositioned your yellow line. That would have been the correct target for the majority of the profit on the scalp.
Okay, so you gotta ask yourself, like, before you get in the trade, is this worth 2 points or whatever it is, right? You gotta ask yourself, is this worth 2 points? Because sometimes I'll ask myself when the moving average is right here, like this, and it'll be like 2 points, but on NQ, it could be 20 points, right? And 20 points is a lot on ES. I mean on MNQ or NQ.
Yeah.
So that's another question. And you always gotta just have that conversation with yourself is before I get into the trade, is it worth it? Is it worth
Right.
the business cost to get in right here and just scalp? Why? Because you're gonna counter trend scalp. But usually our counter trend scalp should be 4 to 6 points. You know, our with trend trades should be 8 to 10 points on ES. That's
Makes
what we
sense.
should be shooting for. So if it's 4 to 6 points and it's only 2 points from here to here, it's definitely not worth the risk. It's not worth your time. You don't want to say, is it worth my time? Or is it worth my account, right? You want to ask yourself, is it worth the risk to get in here just because I hear all these other team members making money? You want to kind of just avoid all that noise that we're posting. That's why I stopped posting my P&Ls, is because I felt like a lot of team members got FOMO, and
Yeah.
I just stopped. So I just post my entries and my exits. Dang it.
Right.
Oops. So avoid the freaking white noise that everybody's posting their P&Ls or whatever. You know, after you make the decision to get in, stick to it, and then fucking cut it if it's against you. Let it run if it's not. The Best Loser Wins book. I love the way he trades, just because he doesn't use any stops. I mean, he doesn't use targets. The dude doesn't use targets, but he's catching big moves.
What does
He
he use?
just he just uses like a strategy where once it breaks a certain structure level, then he gets out.
Hmm.
Or once all he uses is candles. He doesn't use indicators. He just
Oh,
uses candles.
structure and action.
Yeah.
Nice.
So once he loses structure, then he cuts it.
Okay.
Cause right, you don't want to get in where you got in. Well, you don't want to get in here and then target right here and then you're done. Cause you could have got a little bit more out of the market if you would have called that way over here.
Yeah.
I like targets personally myself, but I do get his point because you can always get more because then you're gonna be creating the habit is, well, I left 20 points on the table. Next time I'm gonna hold longer. And then you're gonna create a bad habit of holding longer when you should have just cut it. So I do get his point. I'm not completely done with the book, but there's definitely some good insights in there, especially that cognitive dissonance, which is like, oh shit, I finally know what bag holding means. You're
Yeah.
trying to rationalize that you're doing good when you're not. Just fucking cut it.
Yeah.
Just fucking
Right.
cut it.
Rationalize.
If it's against you.
Right.
Yeah, but just ask yourself. Like I said, you have the scalper's mindset is 4 to 6 points in a counter trend bounce.
Right.
And then with your trend, you should be getting about 8 to 10 points. At least. I'm not saying you know, like for certain, but at least 8 to 10 points with your with trend. Cool.
Makes sense.
But you definitely had a
Yeah.
good stop. You cut it within a reasonable spot.
Yeah.
but just asking yourself that question, is it worth my entry here? Waiting fucking 10 minutes just to get chopped out and then get stopped out?
Right. And it might have been for the runners because if that pre-market top down held, and you could see from the last 30-minute structure, if that was a lower high and this was a lower high and then this lower high, um, the first, so this was a sim ATM, so it was 10.
Hmm.
So 7 would have gotten taken for 2 points. But then the rest could have ran pretty significantly,
Hmm.
especially if we got down to pre-market low and stuff like that. So, I mean, that could have been another 10 points or so.
Yeah, because you want to build a habit of cutting it short right here, right? And then you're like,
Hmm.
let me reset. Okay, it's creating lower highs again. Now this is a better entry for me to get in short.
Right.
Where if you would have let it ride all the way to the top, you're like, fuck, I don't want to get in again.
Yeah.
Right? So if you cut it above 2 points or 1 point, whatever your tolerance is, above that structure right here, just cut it. You're gonna be able to reset to reevaluate and then get in a better location.
Yeah. And that comes to, it's gonna be very helpful taking less trades. Um, because I think getting stopped, re-entering, getting stopped, re-entering could be pretty exasperating, but not if you're only looking for 1 or 2 good trades.
Hmm. But remember, you
Um,
always want to stack those catalysts. You want to have those 3 catalysts stacked because
right.
maybe you got tunnel vision. Maybe you got tunnel vision in this entry, and you're like, "Fuck, I shouldn't have gotten
Hmm.
this trade. Maybe I should cut it. Okay, where should I cut it? Okay, right here, these 4 little wicks. I think it's like a point or two above that is good. And if it goes with me later, okay, whatever. Let me identify what I could have, what I could have seen to not get in that trade."
Yeah. Makes sense. I had a profit. Also, this is the profit I was talking about. Um, Off of the continuation. Oh, okay, so it's actually not what you originally mentioned. It's something else. So here's that same day, right? Here's that pre-market VWAP.
Hmm.
Here's that structure where it had some indecision, broke, whipsaw, run. Um, and then once this broke out, and this one is not really the main scalp. This is not at all actually the main scalp strategy. But I included this one to have some thoughts about it. I mean, this one was this ended up broke out that VWAP, um, ran up. So I anchored to the bottom of the move that started the run. I saw it wicket, and then put in a few a couple
Consolidation.
dojis. Yeah, yeah, consolidating, putting in these indecisive or consolidation candles, and then got in right here. Um, so let's see, this one doji. So this doji up here on the SPY, yeah, corresponding SPY chart, with the stop just below this area.
Hmm.
Um, and then the let's see what I noted here. For this one, I saw we were squeezing the pre-market top down, right? So pre-market top down here, squeezing that. We had that little 1045 to 1015 structure. So this one, no, we're 945 to 1015. This structure then
Sure.
squeezed out. So I anchored the start of that breakout. I saw that bounce. So I went long and I took the majority of the profit, just a couple points up around this high, and then the ultimate goal, which I took then, So I had 3 runners. I took 2 of my runners here at the pre-market top down. Oh, yeah. Or the yesterday high a day top down.
Mhm.
Right, so right there. Took some there, and then I had a trail stop on my last runner, which got triggered right here. So this was a profit trade. Okay, it uses of some aspects of the system in my target. I thought
Mhm.
we're squeezing the pre-market top down, then we could go ahead and run to the previous high a day VWAP.
Mhm.
So that was my target, and that gave me a good target. I was out with all but probably 1.5 points from the top, um, and then the runner. So I think this was a pretty decent spot from my first profit take. I saw this RSI divergence get put in, but that wasn't really a factor for my first profit take. It was just
Yeah.
partially this high, but then also kind of a standard going for, I think this was like
So I got
208,
one question,
212.
and
Yeah.
then I'll tell you what you could have done in to stay in right here. But
Okay.
why wouldn't you anchor it from down here? Why would it? I'm asking out of curiosity, not why was this anchored here instead of down here?
Because this was, I don't know if I'm using it 100% correct, but I've heard it more than a few times from Connor. This was the start of the move that decided this was going to break out. Like until these 4 candles came in. So, I mean, this was, bull flag, a pretty classic
Mm-hmm.
bull flag, I
Yeah.
suppose. Um, and then this was the bounce off VWAP. But up until this point, I think it could have decided to go down
Yeah.
pretty reasonably with structure. This could
Yeah, because
be
that
the
could have been a
low
lower high.
high. Yeah. Um, so then I anchored it to, and especially because this was like a feeling thing because I've when it was squeezing the top down, um, this move was hugely bearish in the pre-market.
Yep.
So once it started squeezing the top down, um, the gut feeling there was that squeezes happened fairly quickly. The squeeze started here. I don't think it's going to retrace all the way down here. Um, because I don't think it's going to give that opportunity to get in on the squeeze. I don't think it's going to give the Bears an opportunity to get out that profitably on the squeeze.
Yeah.
So that's why I anchored it there. I think when momentum squeezes come in, um, I think that it's good to. I think I've done it a few times. I guess I would need to study it more to have data and stuff. But I think it's can be good to anchor to the start of just that last move that
Yeah.
decided we're squeezing.
No,
So that's why I
definitely I
do that.
understand. So can you squinch up that chart, or is that a screenshot?
Just a
I,
screenshot, but I can pull up that day.
I wanted to see like what price action was over here,
Yeah,
but
let's pull up that day.
this little candle right here kind of piques my interest. And I'll tell you why if you can pull up that other chart.
Yeah. So here is that day. Um, Although this is the 30/30 from today. Go ahead and get it to the 30/30 of that day. Right here, yeah, the huge bearish move. Broke out pre-market swap right here. And then here is that structure.
Here's that
Here
move, huh?
is,
Right there.
yeah, and here's that bottom up. And then, yeah, so here's that move.
So squinch it
Uh,
up a little bit so I can see what this price action is, but I think there's a bunch of sellers right here in this wick, and there is, look at that gap.
yeah.
So that gap, this gap right here, or this wick right here,
Hmm.
left a lot of sellers and even left sellers there. So you know that that level right there is significant. If you can get over that and hold that, it's going to
Hmm.
squeeze.
Okay,
And
that
where's it
makes
gonna
sense.
squeeze to? It's gonna squeeze to over here somewhere. Cause that
Yeah,
looks all shitty. It's not really candles, but I bet you if you pull it up on NT or something, these candles will show that there's sellers right there. And look at it squeezed up almost right to it, right there.
that makes sense. So would you?
And that's just screen time, dude. You're not gonna, be like, oh, fucking this and that. But what the ICT model showed me is always look left, because it's always gonna magnet these previous structures. And if you don't
Right,
look left, if you don't like looking left, then use volume profile, because these ones, they probably had big shelves. I bet you anything
makes sense.
that they'll have shelves. So if it seems like a lot, always squinching up the map or looking left, maybe get a second chart, a longer time frame, or use your volume profiles. The best volume profiles that I recommend is Tradovate. For some reason, I love those freaking volume profiles. But
Yeah,
um yeah, so either one of those two actions or use both. It doesn't matter. But when you see a long wick like that, you know there's something going on. And if you can get over that wick and hold it like it did right there, you know it's going to squeeze.
yeah. Now I guess would you at least though put a stop below like maybe the low of this 1 minute?
And I mean, it's fine that you locked in some there. That's awesome. And you could, I mean, that play was good.
Okay.
Totally. I'm not knocking you or anything, but I'm just saying if you wanted to just lock in instead of locking in there, maybe lock in here and then put a trail.
Yeah. Well,
But
I'm
trust
just
me, wins make you feel a little bit more confident, and that's why I wanted you to start small, like 4 to 6 points. Catch that for a whole week, or
yeah,
50 out of your 60 trades. Catch freaking 4 to 6 points, 4 to 6 points. Because it's not to be like, yay, it's more like a confidence builder. Like, yeah, I'm starting to figure out the pattern. Because I don't want you to just think about the profit. I want you to think about what the
yeah,
candles look like, what the chart look like, what the catalyst look like. Not be like, yeah, I'm gonna get $400, or if you're trading micros, you're gonna be like, oh, I won $40 off of one play, which is awesome.
right.
One play, $40 on micros with one contract. That's like a home run, dude.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I
that's what
gotta
I.
think about the profit less.
That's what you gotta like try to avoid just looking at the green or the red P&L. It's just if you
Yeah,
can't block it out, if you can't, then stick to your trade. Just stick to your trade and uh look at what the chart's giving you.
yeah. That makes sense. So this one, yeah. So then, yeah, I'm happy with this one. I think, yeah, could stay in. I think especially, so like you said, that's kind of like an advanced thing, seeing that this level squoze,
Hmm.
hit the squeeze, um, and then seeing that once it got above this level, it's likely to continue squeezing. But I don't think that's very far from the knowledge that I already have because I already identified that this was a squeeze, so I have to be a
Yep.
little bit more aggressive with my entry. I'm happy
Yep.
about my entry because I waited until it tested that VWAP and showed that it was holding above it.
No, that's
Um,
awesome entry right there, dude. Because what you want to do on the pullback low is identify the candle that give you the pullback low, right? So this
yeah,
candle right here gave you your pullback low. So entering 1 or 2 ticks above the body, which it looks kind of like you did right here, with the
yeah,
stop 1 or 2 ticks below the wick.
makes sense to me. I'm gonna incorporate that more for sure, especially when I try to catch these continuations.
Yes.
And
Wait,
patience is good. I jump the
patience
gun too
waiting
much.
for the candles to close, because I I guarantee you that if you had your volume profile, there was probably a volume profile somewhere in this level.
Yeah, let me see. I took the volume profile screenshot. So, oh, what is this? This is a 5 minute. Is it, yeah, this is a 5 minute as a whole day. Yeah, there's the top. This is that top.
So
Here's
you would have,
that.
it would have lined up right here with that shelf,
Let me
or at least it looks like it.
shrink this one down. Pull this over here. Zoom in. Um, let's see.
There's a 5 minute,
This
that doji right there. I mean, that red doji right here looks like it was all this junk.
that
But that's just me.
is
I don't know.
pump here, and then these final two. Yeah, I think these three candles here are
Well,
these
look
guys.
at what's right here.
Yeah, that shelf. But then how does that shelf indicate to you that so because these dojis were put in kind of just under the shelf.
It gives me a range, and this is kind of what I wanted to get into. Is it gives me a range from the shelf, right? It gives me a range to the shelf to the moving average. So this little area.
Yeah.
Cause the way that I look at it, it loses the MA, I'm not getting in. Or see how the moving average lines up with the last kind of bar right here before the valley? That
Yeah.
last little bar is like the last line of defense.
Hmm.
So I got
Okay.
that whole zone to be like, okay, it hasn't even came. Can you zoom in? I can. It looks like one doji almost came down and hit it.
Yeah, I can zoom in here. I can make it full screen.
Yeah, that
Um,
doji right here. It looks like it would have came down and hit it, but
yeah.
it lines up with this. See this little shelf right here?
Actually, I actually don't think it touched it. Hard to tell exactly, but actually,
Yeah,
yeah, I do
without
not.
lines, but either way, that shelf was there.
But it also can help me hold stay in longer is this 5 minute, um, which is right here. We squeezed and closed above this whole big shelf.
Hmm.
And then this last 5 minute could have been the final exasperation candle.
Yep.
Uh, okay.
Remember, I told you
Cool.
the look and legs of three. Look, one leg, two legs, three legs.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 on the downside as well.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why I'm trying to really drill into my head to dig into the profit when the days are good because 3 legs up squeezes the pre-market, no problem. 3 legs down, no problem. Like dig in, step on the gas when the market's good, and just stop fucking trading when it's not good.
Yeah, don't even force it because you're gonna force a trade that you shouldn't be getting into.
Yeah,
And when you force
that's
trades, that's when shit hits a fan.
yeah.
Be like, oh, Connor got in, or Semper got in, or Lasagna Cat got in.
Hmm.
I should be getting in too. Except they're already probably out of the trade by the time you're getting in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, probably already out. Um,
But yeah.
and here's a I don't know how much time we have left. I was just gonna pull up at least one more as profit from so that top down target then became an entry. Let me see which one of these is best to pull up here. We got the 1, 5, again on the 5. What's the difference between these two fives? Why do I have them both? I think this one's better.
And you're playing both ways, which is a lot harder to do too. Especially when you're new. Playing
Yeah.
both ways is hard.
Yeah, I was actually really happy about this. I was really let's fucking go about this day because I tried to go long, got stopped. I tried to go short, got cut out. But then I went long, covered it, and then I went short. And in the end, even though I took expense here, I took expense here, I took profit here and profit here, that greatly outweighed the expense.
Mhm.
I took, um, so I was really happy about this
As long
day.
as you keep your expenses low.
Yeah, and that's something I gotta get better at. That's why fuck any random trade. I need to never take an unplanned trade, or unplanned expense, or just an expense that just gets hit.
Yeah, definitely. The whole plan of this is for you after you're done is like take less expenses,
Hmm.
hit nothing but profit.
Yeah,
Of course, you're still gonna revert back to your previous habits, um,
yeah, it's a karma.
but minimizing those habits or like reducing those habits.
Right. That's
Because
what religions mean. Oh, go ahead.
once you start feeling like you're mad or you're fucking revenge trading, just fucking shut it down. Go take a walk.
Yeah.
Go do something. Clear your mind. Take some deep breaths, and then freaking reevaluate. Not go back and touch the mouse. Just reevaluate the chart.
Yeah.
Fucking
Trading while angry is never good. Lost so much
um,
trading while angry. It's
yeah,
like in life, man. Like anger can. I was listening to Mark Douglas the and he was talking about how trading, your life skills do not work in trading. So with men, it's like anger. Well, and with women, but men have more anger problems, on average.
yeah,
Bell
definitely.
curve and all that. So it's like in life, anger can be a fuel. You're
Hmm.
mad and you channel that anger to go get a good workout or something like that. Or like if I used to play a lot of games. If you're playing a video game, you get mad, you get locked in, and you're like, oh, now you're playing some fighting game. You're like, oh, now you made me mad. Now I'm gonna lock in and crush you or whatever. But you
Hmm.
can't get mad and lock in the fucking market, man. Like it will
It
take
will
your
eat you
emotions.
alive. Yeah.
It'll eat you up, man. Eat you up. So just getting up and walking away for sure. Um, but yeah,
Maybe
uh,
make a rule like make a rule is like, hey, if I get two max losses or two losing trades, um, I won't trade until an hour or 3 hours or whatever, or the power hour, whatever it is.
yeah,
Or if you have your max daily loss, you're done for the day.
yeah. The thing
And
with
it
this,
doesn't have to be the daily loss of the prop firm or whatever.
yeah,
Just put a reasonable max daily loss. Like Lasagna Cat, he went into Ninja Trader because he's using his personal account. He went into Ninja Trader, set a personal max daily loss. So like that prevents him from trading. It pretty much locks you out of Ninja Trader until the next day.
I should set that. I wonder if
And
that can be worked with prop firms that work with Ninja Trader.
that I'm not sure. I know Top Step has you can set that. Top
I
Step
should
you can
set that.
set a max daily loss. Um, other than theirs, right? But you can hit like $500. If I hit $500, it'll lock me out of my Top Step prop firm account until the next day.
The only thing I don't like about that is that this would have been a loss. This would have been a loss, but then and then I had two winners in a row. Um, but then that kind of emphasizes on the point of only taking a good trade. Um,
Exactly. But what if you would have took another trade and it was another loss, and then instead of being down 300 or 400, you're down 1,000, and then you're like,
yeah,
fuck. Now the next day you're trying to dig yourself out, which is a
yeah,
lot harder to do. If you just take two red losses and just tell yourself, this is my max daily loss. If I hit it, I'll come back and make it back. Right?
right.
Don't be like, this is my max daily loss. I'm gonna adjust it. And then next thing you know, you're down $1,500 and then you're fucking really digging yourself out of a grave.
Yeah,
And it just makes the situation worse because the next day you're gonna come in trying to make that money back. Or you're gonna be revenge trading into the next day, even
Right.
though you stopped out, instead of being like, I can take a $300 loss because I know that I can catch a $300 play. But you need to tell yourself, are you able to catch $1,000 play? Have you ever caught $1,000 play? Yes, no. If the answer is no, then your max daily loss should be below that because you cannot make that shit back in one day. You can if you're experienced and you have you have more money to throw at it. But if you're in a prop firm, it's a lot harder to do, and you're still gonna be shaking the fucking loss off the next day.
Makes sense.
So keep it small so you can make that shit back. If you can't make it back, I mean, if you can't, it's like I tell my son, right? You got to learn how to lose before you become a great winner. If you don't know how to lose, you're not gonna be a good winner.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That
keep
makes
those
sense.
losses small, man. Anybody,
Mhm.
everybody, keep them small.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what help with that is, especially because I'm trying to catch the good price on VWAPs and stuff, is getting, like I was saying, getting in slow, not getting in um the whole position at once, looking for confirmation after starting to average in, stuff like that.
Yep, cool. Is
Um,
that all the trades you had?
I've actually got probably too many to recap all at once.
Sure. No
Um,
worries.
but
As
I've
long as
got
they're green,
a
you can shoot me any DMs or shoot me shoot in the chat like, hey, I took this great trade. Can you identify what I did good? What even if it's an awesome trade, because there's still
yeah,
stuff that you can learn, be like, or and pick up little details from the big green trade. Um,
yeah,
but we'll cut it here just to keep the video short, and then
okay,
we'll continue chatting.
sounds good.